Welcome back to the Naturally Holistic Program. Okay, so folks, we hope you're doing okay. We hope you've told a friend by now. We hope you've texted everybody to tell them, tune in, because we got this new hot program here and we're about to inform the public. Information, it's all about information, because there's a verse in the Bible and it says, my people are destroyed for what? For lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. I believe it's Hosea 4, chapter 4. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So we're here to reverse that ignorant state. Because as we said, one of the most basic and fundamental principles in life is what? Eating. Eating, and then medicine, herbal medicine comes right behind that. So if we've got to really ask ourselves, how comes we do not know how to facilitate one of the most important and basic fundamental principles in life, such as eating? Something has gone drastically wrong, folks. And we're here as the Naturally Holistic Program to set the record straight. Okay? So if you don't know, you're in tune to New Star Radio. Of course, New Star Radio. And we say, tell a friend to tell a friend, because we're here again. All right? So, folks, wow, what we're going to talk about this week. We were here on in the studio with Anthony Peters, I believe, last Tuesday, and we touched on the sweet to the body and the mind, sugar, and I think that, well, I've really decided to kind of follow on from there and to just, share some information with the public regarding sugar, because there's a lot of things regarding sugar and a whole great understanding which we are lacking. You see? We are lacking. And when we say sugar, we really should qualify it and use the word refined sugar. Because sugar is okay. Glucose is fine. Fructose, sucrose, these are fine. Dextrose, they're fine when they are in the food source. I repeat, they are fine and dandy and nourishing when they are in the food source. But listen to this. We're going to explain this. Once you take it out, that's a form of rape. You have ripped it out of its natural environment. And now it's going to come to the body and it's going to hit the body hard. Oh yes, that's what it does. So it becomes a problem to the body. See? So sugar in a natural form, glucose, fructose, sucrose, dextrose with water and other vitamins, is so warming and natural and pampering and harmless and beneficial to the body. But like we say, when you refine, and let's go into this refinery process, okay? Because we have this word called sugar, yes? And there's so many different types of sugar. We mentioned honey last Tuesday. Honey. And many of us, even myself, used to embrace honey. I was embracing honey like I was in heaven at once upon a time, thinking that because I was getting it straight from the honeycomb, I was getting some pure, undiluted, strong, high, beneficial, nutritional food source. However, later studies revealed that honey is 17% water, moisture. So therefore, it's seeking moisture. They use a word called hygroscopic. Scopic as in scope, as in looking. Scopic, telescope. Hygro as in water. Seeking water. Hygroscopic. Seeking water. Honey and these different sugars are seeking water. So they come into the body looking for water, absorbing the very moisture from your body. Now, what's the problem with that? Because inside of water, you find life. Inside of water is oxygen. Oxygen is what? The breath of life. So if I have a substance that's coming into my body and absorbing moisture, which houses the breath of life, what am I doing? I'm having the breath of life being removed from my body? Ooh. Maybe this is why the arteries dry up and harden, and they use a Greek word called sclerosis. Sclerosis as in arterial sclerosis or multiple sclerosis. When you harden the nerves, multiple sclerosis. When you harden the arteries, arterial sclerosis. You narrow the arteries. You reduce the flow of life source coming through your arteries. It's a never-ending issue here, and we're going to get into some of the conditions so the people can be warned, the people can have an understanding, and the people can make informed decisions. Isn't that what it's about? To make an informed decision. Okay? And let us just remind you, we're here and we are, like we say, we practice as a holistic nutritional counselors, and therefore we'll be running consultations, yes, right here in the New Start office down on Dudley Road. So we're running consultations where we'll be carrying out full holistic health assessments. Now, what is a full holistic health assessment? Oops, let me not divert right now. But a full holistic health assessment is very much different to a consultation. But anyway, we'll get into that as time goes on. Anyway, so various sugars, we have fructose, sucrose, glucose, and so forth. As we said, when they're in their natural form, inside of the apple, inside of the mango, inside of the beets, inside of the various fruits, yes, when the sugars are in there with the water and in their family environment, they behave in a very beneficial manner, hugging and pampering the body and nurturing the body. But when you separate, when you take the apple, or let's say the sugar cane, because the sugar cane is fine. If you take the sugar cane and you strip it and you put it in your teeth, and your teeth now act like as the machine to extract the juice from the sugar cane, and you spit out the raw cane itself, and the juice is fine. You have machines that do it and do the same thing, and you drink the juice and it's fine. But if I take that juice and I put it through a process and heat it up, I'm going to make crystallization, granulization. You see? In the same way, if I take the cocoa plant in Peru is very natural and harmless to the body. But if I take the cocoa plant and take it through a process and heat up the cocoa plant, ooh, I'm now creating something else. Refinery process. And we know what that makes. You got cocaine. So you jump over to the sugar cane and you take it through the same process, stripping it down and heating it up and cooling down, crystallization, granulization, and put it in a bag, go through Tate and Lyle or wherever we're going through and bag it up, and we put it into the cash and carry, and we go into the shops, and then we go in there with our ignorant self and we buy a bag of sugar. And we take it home and we place 2-3 teaspoons into our tea and our cereal. Some of us into our fruit juice. I could never, that one always kind of struck my brain, you know, how we have fruits which are full of sugar, and then we juice them or blend them and we add sugar. That one there is, you know, will forever shake my brain. But anyway, we do these things. So what happens is that sugar now goes and seeks water and pulls moisture out of our bodies. You see? Because it becomes a drug at that point. It becomes a drug. You see? Because if we take the mango, just to give you a clearer understanding of this, if we take the mango, and when you bite into a mango, people, when you bite into a mango, what you do, your body acts as the machinery and strips down the flesh, because your body doesn't really want the flesh. What is it your body needs? It's the nutrients, the invisible nutrients. And the flesh fiber, yes, goes through the alimentary canal and has another function of helping to cleanse the canal and bring stuff throughout into the toilet. Okay? So it's no longer necessary. The nutrients have been taken. Right. Now it's the same way when you take sugar cane. Yeah, yeah, we won't go into the anything else, but the sugar cane, and your body takes the nutrients, okay? But you take that through the machinery. The machine takes the nutrients out and gets rid of the trash. Yes? But what happens with things like white rice, because these also turn to sugar rapidly, white flour turn to sugar rapidly in the body. When your body does, when you do it with these things now, the white rice is the trash part of brown rice. The white flour is the trash part of the brown flour. But we're not leaving it in the toilet, because that white flour trash ends up on our table, and the white rice ends up on our table. That's really the chemical waste. We're actually consuming the chemical waste aspect of the food, folks, and it's because of refinery and lack of understanding. Okay. Now, white rice turns to sugar quickly in the body because of that very aspect. It's empty, it's void. So it comes in the body and it hits it hard. Same with the white flour. Comes into the body and it hits it hard. Now, white flour has a byproduct known as alloxan. Alloxan has been known to cause diabetes maybe faster than even the sugar. Alloxan, you can look it up. Alloxan is a byproduct of flour refinery, and it's known to burn out the beta cells. The beta cells in the pancreas is what helps to produce our insulin. Okay, so we're burning out the cells. Furthermore, it's melaninated cells. We're burning out the melanin, which is our first line of defense. We're going to have to do a whole show on melanin, so don't worry about that. We're going to do a whole presentation on melanin going forward. If you're lucky, maybe even next week. So we're burning out the melanin centers of the cell, and the pancreas can no longer produce insulin. Yes? So in addition to that, because that's more along the type 1, what they call the type 1 diabetes. Now the type 2 would be where the cells, because in type 2 you have a bit of both going on. But anyway, the cells in your muscular cells are finding it hard to utilize the glucose. Why is this happening? Because you're consuming too much sugar, too much fast sugar. Like this sugar we're talking about, it comes in and hits the body fast. We're consuming too much of it, so it's coming in the body too fast, and it's too fast for your body to absorb it. Yes, there's another factor also, because you have fats. Fats also play a role here, because the fats are clogging up the nucleus of the cell. The nucleus and the mucous membrane on the cell is clogging it up, preventing the doorway from opening and letting the glucose in. They call them glucose transformers and receptors. In other words, it's a doorway. Now, where's the key to the door? The key to the door is the insulin. The insulin is the key to open the cells, the membrane of the cells. That's the key. So that you send out the key goes to the cells, opens the door, and in goes the glucose. The body uses it. Therefore, it does not hang around in the blood. Because when it hangs around in the blood, you say, oh, I've got high blood sugar. And if you have high blood sugar, what does sugar do? We've explained. Sugar absorbs moisture. So when it's sitting in the blood, it's absorbing the liquid moisture from your blood. So your nerves dry out. Multiple sclerosis, neuropathy, all of these things we hear about with the diabetics. But diabetes is a high-fat, high-sugar diet, because you have both ends are being affected. Both ends. The insulin production, which is the key, and the transformers receptors, which is up there in the doorway. The door lock is being jammed because there's a backup of glucose and fats hanging around in the body. So folks, our bodies should be fluent. As it comes in, food comes in, it goes out, in and out, in and out. Nice and fluent, just like your emotions should be. Why have I brought the emotions? Because this is holistic health. So when we talk about holistic health, we're talking about not only the body, we're talking about the emotions, we're talking about the mentality, and we're talking about the spirituality. And we'll take our time and go through, because I'm going to say something here which needs to be digested appropriately, diabetes is an emotional dis-ease. For the very fact that sugar helps to satisfy the need to give and or receive love. Yes? Give and or receive love. Now, I don't know how much further I should go into that point right now. Yes, because it might take us off of the raw sugar discussion. But it needs to be said at this point. You see, because sugar, they talk about sugar relating to love and chocolates and Valentine's and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So if an individual has an issue in loving themselves, they more than likely going to be gravitating towards sugar. Yes? We are greatly controlled by our emotional bodies. We are very much so. Okay? Now, the snack industries out there in the world, they understand this. They do understand this. Hence, snack products are on the rise continuously. Because they need to, the human beings need to medicate their emotional imbalances somehow. And this is what's been going on. So, it goes a lot further, because we all remember this is Afro-Caribbean community we're speaking to here. And the Afro-Caribbean community, like I explained with my upbringing and being a product of displacement, we understand that there's an identity crisis. There's an identity crisis. Now, this is one of the things we put out on our programs over the years, is that the big question is, are we able to provide the necessary value to a substance, item, event, or person if you do not know what that thing, item or person is? If I do not know what this computer is, am I able to provide this necessary value? It's right, true and appropriate value. I think the answer is straight cut. That's why you have a manual with these devices that we buy. A manual is provided so you can understand how to care for the manual. Okay? To care for the manual, because therefore you understanding the value and understanding what it is, you can now understanding what value and what care to apply to it. So if you do not know what it is, you are not going to be able to apply its true and necessary required value and care. This goes right back to what we're talking about as an identity crisis. For those individuals who have been displaced, hence diabetes is I think 25% of the Jamaican population, in the black community. I mean, in our book we've explained it in depth, and we will get into it over the weeks, is that if you look at kidney disease, if you look at diabetes, you look at arthritis, you look at asthma, you look at sarcoidosis, you look at sickle cell, you look at various conditions and diseases, you'll see that they are at the highest incident rate within the Afro-Caribbean community.